Hi, John Marshall, the DrillMaster. I have another video. This is the last one that was sent to me through my Google Drive. If you want to send me videos, you can. It's not a problem. I'll just give you the link. You can upload your videos. If you don't want to have them out, create a YouTube channel and then upload them there and then send me the link. That's fine. Either way, doesn't matter. All right, so this is the looks like regulation sequence for the New York Junior ROTC that I've been grading in other areas throughout the week here. Okay, so here we go. All right, so Commander, you're at Sling Arms. That's great. Glad to see that. You don't, unless it's part of the sequence, you don't give the flight present arms. Now, obviously, it could be part of the sequence, but the commander salutes for the formation, and you don't face with the flight. You give commands facing the flight. So here you should have already, calling halt here, that's fine, no problem. But, but once you halt, then you face the flight, and then you give order arms and also left face. And then I saw a rifle being left behind, I call it. So this rifle right here is second cadet in the first. Let me see if I can get a little bit back here. No, I can't. All right, so the rifle needs to be lifted up, kept vertical, brought over to the right foot, and then placed down. So it'd be so much easier to show you rather than trying to explain it. But don't leave, especially with left face. You can leave the rifle behind, and then it breaks vertical as you bring it over, like that cadet did. So there's an inconsistency of technique throughout here. So, Commander, even though you are at... Oh, you dropped your hand. Why did you drop your hand? Oh, okay. I see kind of what you did. All right. So when you're at Sling Arms, you're going to... Let me see if the camera's picking all of this up. All right. So I've got a tiny camera here. So when you're at Sling Arms, you have your forearm horizontal. You're holding onto the sling. All right. So then you're going to grab the sling with your left. You're going to come to a salute. Then from there, you drop your hand down to finish the salute. A salute isn't necessarily begun from the position well, you're having your hand on your thigh, your arm fully extended downward. So that doesn't necessarily constitute a salute. This is what constitutes a salute, and then finishing it. So you're going to drop your arm all the way down and then come back up under your hand, under the left, because you're here. You grab on top, drop. You don't drop. You salute, then drop, come back up here, and then cut that left hand away. But having said all that, all the while your rifle is not vertical, and the rifle needs to be vertical. So here we have a butt way too far out. The upper part of the rifle needs to be horizontal or vertical. Look at that. That's perfect. That's perfect. See that line right there? That's the only pretty much straight line that isn't angled on the rifle. So having that line of the rifle, the bottom of the rifle facing forward, that looks really good. Then you want that 4-inch distance. An average man's width of his fist is about 4 inches. So that's why we check the 4 inches there with the hand. So instead of bringing your hand all the way down, you brought your hand down to the bottom of the sling. Yeah, you just brought it down to the sling instead of bringing it down so that your thumb is along the seam of the trouser leg, and you'd be able to to more or less gauge that. Your rifle butt is still going to be a bit in the way, but you're going to bring your hand down anyway. So you're pulling down on the sling, and then when you grab the sling to render your salute, you're still pulling down on the sling to try and keep that rifle as vertical as possible. And you don't face with the flight. What are you doing? No. Okay. Why'd you do that? That doesn't make any sense. Why did you move from the commander's position? That's not the commander's position. Unless you brought the flight in wrong, and this is actually first element leader, but it looks like he's third element leader, then he is second element leader, and he's first element leader. So why didn't you stay over there? You're supposed to stay over there, and that's a rhetorical question. So you're obviously taught wrong, had it explained to you wrong. I don't know exactly the situation, but you face the flight, and when you give close, you're going to take half steps forward. Then, when you give extend, you take half steps to the rear, all the while maintaining your 3-step distance. This, what you're doing here, is not. So now you're too wide. So each one of the elements is much too far away from each other. You can definitely tell that, as soon as you put your arms up, then you've lost that spacing. It's obvious to tell. So the side steps that we take for close and extend are supposed to be metered steps. So it's not a full side step. It's not a full right or left step. The right or left step for the Air Force is 12 inches. So you're not going to take a 12-inch step to the right or left. You're going to take a metered step, a shorter step, and you're going to divide that distance that you have to travel. You're going to divide it up. So maybe you're going to take 2 8-inch steps, or maybe 9.5-inch steps, or whatever it would be, for then a second element here, and then 4 for first element coming in, and then all the way out. So the same length of step, or well, it's really width of step since it's side steps. The same width going in and coming out isn't 12 inches. It has to be different. And then you marching back over that that really I really wish that, and that was a fine example of open and close ranks. That's good. I really wish that all of the sequences out there would have the commander check for alignment. You don't have to go through the alignment process of 2 up, 3 back, steady. All that is immaterial. But actually having the commander go through the process of checking the alignment, and then coming back up in front of the flight, that would really be a great way for the judge to gauge if the commander understands how to take care of that situation, because now the commander's too close to the flight. So, commander, you don't go to parade rest, you don't salute, nothing. You're in the commander position. The flight is in the flight position. As a member of the flight, the flight members will perform what command you give. You don't perform the commands you give because you're not a member of the formation. And don't lift the rifle on the command of right, and then finish it on the command of face. What are you doing? Why why did you move to the other side? that so that doesn't that this doesn't that's not a thing. That doesn't make sense. Now now I understand that you're going to come up here, you know, marching towards the camera. Then you're going to give column right. So for that column right, it, you Air Force teams can go have the commander come out to the uh, to almost the border there of the drilled area, but most opt to switch sides. Doing this doesn't exist. This isn't part of any drill and ceremonies. Honestly, it changing sides like that anyway really doesn't exist. So saw some pretty good technique there, really good. So you turned a little bit too soon there, Commander. Although you were facing the flight as they were coming around, I really appreciate that. That was a good job. That's that's very odd. I see some good arm swing as well. Nice half step length, I should say, but it's not the appropriate half step for the Air Force. Half step is just half of a normal step. So a normal full step at quick time is going to be, and so look at the arm swing here, way too far to the rear. So normal step is 24 inches, half step is 12 inches. Well, what's the step technique used for the full step? Well, it's a heel strike. So it stands to reason that half step is half of a normal step, but the technique doesn't change. So what you're doing here is toe striking. The only three services that toe strike on half step are the Marine Corps, Navy, and Coast Guard. And they are required to do that because it tells each service is told in the Marine Corps order to toe strike on half step. Whereas Army, Air Force, and now Space Force, we're going to march with a heel strike for both the full step and the half step. So the step length was good. Third element leader, you were doing a bang up job. Full step and then getting into half step after that. But then most of the flight, it looked like, was toe striking for that half step. Turn when the center of the flight comes up, Commander. So it for change step, it has to be step, step, step. So change step, march, step, step, step. And it has to be quick like that, like you're doubling the tempo in order to actually change step. So as you go through this, if you're just change step, march, step, 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 pretty much like you were, I think you sped up maybe a little bit. You still don't change step. So that's the whole point there, is to speed up the technique in order to actually change step. Oh, so I'm guessing because of the size of the area, you have to do that, which is really a shame, honestly. So you're stomping their team, and again you're toe striking as well. So Commander, you're passing in front of the flight constantly, and you really shouldn't be. So you're almost, almost, Commander. You're still dropping that hand to the bottom of the sling there. I don't know why, but um, forward march is called on the left foot. You take another right step, then you begin the another right step, a half step, or mark time, uh, whatever the case may be, you, with that right foot, and then you take off with the left. Eyes right, then you bring the hand across and salute, popping your head over on that next step. And but you're going about the procedures there with your hands wrong. Eyes right is called on the right foot. Ready front is called on the left. Now you change sides on the left or on to the rear, going over to the other side of the correct side of the flight, and but you're not 3 steps away. So So if you hear the commands that the you element leaders, you all called all at the same time, and then you called your individual flight or your individual element uh, to forward march. But the command is forward march. So what does forward march entail? It entails marching forward and not executing a pivot. So the Air Force doesn't execute pivots on column of files. So here, what you're going to do is you're going to take off. So here's base element marches forward, second element comes over, inclines, the first element then inclines a little more, and then everybody is in a straight line. So Commander, you should be centered here, you should be up here and 3 steps away. That was good. That wasn't. So it's element halt, step, close, not element halt and bring your feet together. So almost call it, oh, excuse me, call it a step earlier there, first element leader, and you'll do better. What was that? That what was that? First element leader. What did you do? Yeah, you stepped. Why did you stepped away? You didn't execute a face in march. So you're going to execute a face in march. That's pivot on the ball of the right foot, kick out that left foot. It's a pivot, not just a step away from your right foot. So actually, all of the element leaders need to do that. So second and third elements are element leaders are going to execute a 45-degree face in march. No, you just stepped away. So nobody did a pivot. So alignment is needing some work. Your recovery after each one of the that's so your half step. You're just stomping, and you're so Commander. I'm thinking of your command voice. You're going forward, march, forward. All of your commands drop. Half step, or actually it's probably half step, march, and it should be half step, march. So we inflect upwards until to the command of execution. To the rear, march. Calling it on the right foot, that was good. So remember, that's a half step for to the rear march. It's march, half step, both feet in line, turn on the platforms of both feet, another half step, and then continue on with a full step on that next right step, which is kind of strange, but that's what the Air Force wants. So for your half step, not only are you toe striking, but the feet are being raised quite high, which then lends to you stomping that toe into the marching surface. You should be facing the flight. Good tempo there, although technique needs a little bit of work. I saw some hands flying around there. So you're at left shoulder, and I saw hands coming out like this instead of just coming straight over. And then the turn for present was just kind of a, and that was it. So you're not necessarily finishing, and I'm not talking about everybody in the flight, I'm just talking in general. Some of you are not necessarily finishing the movement. It's just kind of a here, and then I'm off to do my next movement. So I can tell right here that this cadet with the fingers so far back, but pointing back towards the top of the rifle there, I can tell that the wrist is bent like this, whereas you should let the rifle twist in in your hand without pulling the sling over, and you definitely don't want to turn that wrist out like that. That's not going to present correctly. Nice job, honestly. You did well for quite a bit of it. Commander, I'm just not sold on the idea of you moving in different places. But I don't know where that comes from. But there's all kinds of weird training out there. And oh, my head was cut off the whole time. Sorry about that. All right. So that's yeah, that's the critique. Let me know if you have any questions. Thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it.